Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mr. Ben.
Hi, Ben. I'm glad you all braved the rain and got up here nice and early. Hopefully you got some coffee into you. Everybody's nice and awake. We don't want to hear any snoring from the back. There's some good people up front here. Ask a lot of questions, get very interactive about it. I recognize a few faces from coming to these events before, and that's a good sign to me. It means that we're doing something right and people are interested. I know when we sent out the invitation saying that we were going to talk about social media, I was like, oh, that's great, I want to know about that. And some people gave us some questions and said, all right, well, I want to know how to do it. Well, that's a good question, but there's a lot of people answering that question right now. Then there's another question, well, I've tried this stuff and it doesn't work. Well, that's a good thing to recognize too, is all right, I put some energy into it and it's not really working for me. Brian has been a friend of mine for a while, and he works in the advertising business and he does a lot with social media. He's got a nice perspective on it that was a little different from a lot of the stuff that I've seen floating around. As any of you who have had an interest in this know, you can go online, you can search stuff, and there's tons of people trying to give away for free, to sell, to push down your throat in any way, information about how to use social media. And I scrolled through it just in trying to figure out what we were exactly going to talk about here. And a lot of it tells you what to do, but not why to do it or how to do it effectively. And you end up with a lot of failed attempts, a lot of wasted effort, and a lot of people sour on the idea. You guys, anybody who knows me, I'm kind of a young person, I'm 27. So I can say that I've got a good perspective on this in that I use this. I use it to find out about businesses. I use it to communicate with friends, colleagues. I use this to just see what's going on in the world. It's the way that I get my information. I don't read a newspaper. I get the newspaper pushed to my Facebook feed. And if any of you do that now, you understand. If any of you have kids who do that, you'll see that that's something that they do. And it might be something you'll just find out about as things go through, that it's one way that some people are getting most of their information now. It's not the only way, and it's not to say that all traditional media is dead, because it's certainly not. There's a lot of great ways that we can use it. But the idea is the way that people are looking for information, what they expect to get by what you're putting out there is changing. One thing that was in the invitation is that coming here was free. One thing that you do have to sit through is my little spiel about what we're doing. This is the KFP Small Business Seminar project, for lack of a better word. A few people have come to a few of them. What we set out to do was that we know that we work with a lot of businesses, and the past few years have been very hard on a lot of industries, really on just about everybody. And people are looking for answers on how to fix problems in their business. They're saying, well, I can't get customers in the door, or people aren't buying as much, or the work is drying up, or my costs are going up, or any number of reasons why things just aren't as great as they were when everything was booming. And we sat down and we said, well, that's great. We work with all these businesses and we'd love to do something to help. We could sit down one-on-one and we can say, okay, let's take a great look at your business and analyze everything one-on-one, but it's very time-consuming, it's very cost-intensive, and it's something that would be very valuable, but is also very difficult to do. And we realized that a lot of the questions that people have were accountants. We know a lot about accounting, we have a general exposure to a lot of different areas of business, but we're not in the business of what everybody's problems are, we're in the business of accounting and working with businesses. So we said, well, we know a lot of great people who have a lot of great ideas and a lot of great questions, and we don't think that any one person has got the answer, otherwise, we'd all be studying them. So we decided to put a bunch of people together in a room and talk about something that is interesting to everybody and try and get the discussion happening. So Brian's going to come up here not to say that I've got all the answers and here's how you do everything, but more so to throw out some ideas on things that have worked, that haven't worked, and spark some discussion and really get some questions going within the group, get people to say, hey, that thing that you just said, I tried that, it didn't work for me. Maybe somebody else tried it and it did work, or maybe somebody else hasn't tried it and didn't know how to start, or thought it might be difficult or expensive. We just want the discussion to happen because we can get up here and we can talk a lot about any topic. The last one we did was on cash management services from a bank, which in and of itself doesn't sound very interesting, but we had a lot of really great discussion. And even after the event was over, we had people talking about it, coming up with new ideas on how they can get money in the door faster. That's the goal, not just come here, listen to it, eat some breakfast. I mean, if that's all you get out of it, that's great, but we really want people to be discussing and having conversations after you leave here. Go out, talk to each other, figure out what's working. So that's the spiel, that's the cost of entry. With no further ado, because I know you're all very interested, and I do want to make sure that everybody gets out on time because you've all got businesses to run and very important things to do. Without further ado, Brian Cristiano.
Thank you, Ben. How is everybody this morning? Are we awake yet? Do we have a coffee? Are we fully caffeinated? I don't drink coffee, but I feel fully caffeinated. First of all, I really want to thank everybody for coming out this morning. It actually really, truly means a lot to me. And I'm not just saying that. It means a lot to me that everybody comes out into this room to hear me talk and say what I have to do and share what I'm going to share with you guys. Because really, it's people like us, it's small businesses, it's other companies that are going to get out of this economy that we're in and go to the next level. Okay? So everyone in this room, we are the resources for the new economy, for what we're creating. And so it really truly means a lot that everyone's here, that we're having this discussion and taking it to the next level and kind of opening up the thought process a little bit. Because let's be honest, everything that's been happening in marketing and in business in general for the last 50 years plus doesn't work anymore. You guys know it. You've seen it in your businesses. I've seen it in my business. I've seen it in every company that we do business with. Everything is changing. And I'm not just talking about social media. I'm talking about the economy as a whole. I'm talking about businesses all together. The way business is being run, the way business is being handled, it's all changing. That's kind of scary to a lot of people. But at the same time, it's an amazing opportunity. Warren Buffett actually just said a few weeks ago that the next 3 years is going to be the largest wealth transfer in the last 100 years. So if you can wrap your head around that and say, well, more wealth is going to be transferred in the next 3 years than has the prior 100, that's pretty incredible. So if you can take advantage of that and be on the forefront of your industry, and be on the forefront of your business, there's an amazing amount of opportunity. It's absolutely endless. So you can grow a business, you can create the absolute next top business of what you want to do, you can reach all of your goals, you can exceed your own expectations, you can exceed everyone else's expectations, because now is the opportunity. This recession, everything that's happened, this is an opportunity for folks like us. This isn't something to look on and say, well, you know what, it's hard, things are changing, things aren't the same. You're absolutely right, they're not the same. But if you can accept that and change with it, and make the adaptations to what's going to happen in the future, you're going to have amazing results. And the people that don't adapt, and I'm not talking about small businesses, it's going to be a lot of large corporations. Because you know what, they're huge, they're heavy, and they can't get out of their own way. I call them glaciers. You know they're moving, but you don't know which direction. And so, these are the companies that it's going to be very tough for them. Not all, some are already moving. But a lot of them are going to have a real tough time adjusting. They're already having a tough time. We've seen it. I mean, look at GM, look at all these other companies, these banks. There's many reasons for why it happened, but it was because they didn't see what was coming down the road. And they didn't adapt. They didn't change. They were reacting to it, and that's why they failed. So if you're always reacting, it's not going to be, you're not going to be able to kind of move forward. So we want to get all of you guys to move forward, to take your business to the next level. And so, I really appreciate Ben. I've known him for a long time. He's a very good friend of mine. He's amazing at what he does. And so he started stirring up this conversation with me, and he invited me to come here and speak to you guys. And I was, astounded to be a part of this. And he wanted it to be about social media. And I think that that's great, because that's one thing that a lot of people, A, don't understand, B, are afraid of. And guess what? If it's something you don't understand, and B, it's something that you're afraid of, that's the future. And if you can take that and accept it and start to learn to use these tools to your advantage, you're going to be part of that new regime, the part of those new companies that are exceeding and excelling in these kind of times. So I was thinking about, okay, well, what do I want to discuss? I obviously don't have that much time, but I have a lot of things that I want to share and a lot of things that I can share. And so I started trying to figure out, well, I can sit here and tell you guys, like Ben said, I can sit here and tell you how to make a Facebook page and post things up and create a Twitter account. But you know what? That's not going to help any one of you, because the problem is bigger than that. What social media is, it's a catalyst. It's kind of a look into the future. This is how business is going to happen. There are so many people moving into this realm. And I'm not saying that everything that you are doing currently is not going to work or not going to fit into this, and that all standardized things and everything in the past is going to go away. That's not true. But all of those things are going to adapt to this new landscape. So instead of me kind of lecturing you and speaking to you and saying, well, this is how you create a page and this is the kind of post you want to put up, that's absolutely pointless. You're not going to get anything out of that. You're going to go home, you're going to get really excited, and then a week later you're going to go, I still have the 14 Facebook friends that I had last week. And they're your closest friends. So that's a problem, and I don't want to do that. So what I want to do is take it back a step further and really kind of talk about the changing landscape and how everything is adapting, and then at the very end I'm going to tie this into social media. And what I want to do is I want to change your entire mindset to how you market your business. And it doesn't matter how big or small you are. You could have $250,000 in annual revenue. You could have $250 million or more in annual revenue. You could just start a business on $1,000 in your bank. It absolutely doesn't matter. These things work. They've been proven. And the companies that use them, they are the companies that are on the forefront. The companies like Zappos.com, they're on the forefront of what's going on. They're a company that decided to sell shoes on the internet. That sounds like a ridiculous concept. I want to try my shoes on. I want to make sure they fit. I want to make sure they look good. But it wasn't that they were selling shoes. It was that they were selling customer service. Because let's be honest, customer service is a thing of the past. But you know what? That's the past. That's what's getting left behind right now. People want to get back to customer service. People want that personability. And that is why social media is taking off. Because it's that personal communication that you're now having with your customers. It's that personal communication line that you've opened up with everyone in these social communities. And it's global. I mean, if you really think about how awesome is that, you're not just reaching the person down the street in your newspaper advertisement. You can reach someone anywhere. And with today's technology, with today's logistics capabilities, you can ship a product, you can ship a service, you can do things over the internet that you could have never done outside of where your local business was located. It's not brick and mortar anymore. No matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you sell a product. It doesn't matter if you have a service. You can do it anywhere, anytime. And that's pretty amazing. And that's why social media is really kind of taking the forefront, because it's expanding upon what's already happening. So, like I said, regardless of any size of your business, this stuff is going to work. And, you know, are you guys... Do you want to hear this stuff so that, you know, I can teach you something that's not going to cost you $1 more, and literally you can walk out of here, and if you take action upon what I say and you apply it to what you're doing today and you change the way that you're thinking, you will absolutely increase your bottom line. Not just use social media and, oh, this is so cool, but actually increase your bottom line through your marketing. I mean, is that something you guys want? All right, so I do things a little bit unorthodox. I know it's early in the morning, but you know, I'm going to have some points where I'll break and ask some questions, obviously, and get people engaged. But I think what I've learned, I've been to a lot of different seminars, and you know, there's a lot of things where people stand and they talk at you and they explain to you what you're going to learn, and they're going to put up a bunch of bullet points and they're going to explain what's going on, and you know, and then they're going to explain the next sheet of bullet points, and they're going to tell you, and you're going to write down your notes. And guess what? Absolutely, this is proven. If I teach to you that way, you're going to retain about 50% of the information by the time you leave this room. But if I get you guys engaged, if when I ask you a question, you guys actually say yes, raise your hand, you have a question, and really kind of get involved in what I'm talking about, then you're going to remember more than 50% of what I'm talking about. And guess what? If you teach the other way, and this is proven in schools, that if you teach the standard way that we've all learned pretty much our entire lives, people sit in chairs and they listen to the teacher put stuff on blackboards and the kids don't really get involved, and this goes through our entire adulthood. If you teach that way, within a week you only remember 10% of what you learned, unless you go back and do your research. But so that's why I want to get you guys involved. So when I ask a question, I say, are you guys interested in this? Whatever. I really want to hear you guys. I want to get you guys engaged, because you know what? It's going to be better for all of us. It's going to be more fun. You guys are going to be more awake. And it's not going to be a boring speech at you. So does everybody really want to learn this stuff, get into it, get excited, and kind of get pumped on what I have to talk about?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, awesome. I'm very excited. So the first part of this, I have 5 steps to effective marketing. I've narrowed this thing down to 5 steps, and really, if you put this stuff into what you're currently doing, it's going to absolutely change your mind. It's going to blow your mind. You're going to say, my God, I've been thinking about marketing one way. And you know what? So is everybody. So are large corporations. They're still thinking about it. Advertising in general hasn't changed really in the last 50 years. And just to give you guys a quick little backstory about myself, because I know a lot of you don't know who I am, outside that I know Ben. I own an advertising agency in Manhattan, and we have clients of all shapes and sizes. So it's really interesting to me, because not only am I doing this stuff for myself, but I do this for other companies. So when I'm speaking about this, I'm not doing things, and I'm not saying things that are specific to one industry. This will apply across the board no matter what you do. And so I run this advertising agency, and originally we were a production company. We did TV commercials, etc., for other advertising agencies. And guess what? 2 years ago, we did that for about 10 years, and we were pretty successful. Then about 2 years ago, when the economy really started to change, the ad world really got shaken up, because what's the first thing that goes from everybody's budget is the